If you've been gardening for even a short while, you've probably heard the words humus and compost tossed around, sometimes even interchangeably. I get it. I once used them as if they meant the same thing too. After all, both are dark, crumbly, and smell like the forest floor after a rainstorm. But here's the secret. Humus and compost are not the same thing, and understanding the difference can completely change the way you build and care for your soil. Today, on SoilSage Chronicles, I want to walk you through the real difference between compost and humus, why it matters for your garden, and how you can make the most of both. Grab your favorite gardening gloves and let's dig deep into the soil. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's pause for a second. Why does it matter if you call compost humus or vice versa? Because your soil, and the plants rooted in it, depend on you knowing the difference. Compost is alive with microorganisms, nutrients, and organic matter that's still breaking down. Humus, on the other hand, is the final stage of decomposition, a stable substance that resists further breakdown. One feeds your soil in the short term, while the other builds your soil's foundation for the long haul. Think of compost as the fresh groceries you bring into your kitchen. Humus? That's the pantry, fully stocked and ready to support you no matter what. Both are essential, but they serve different roles. Let's start with the one we're all familiar with, compost. Compost is simply organic material that has decomposed. Kitchen scraps, yard waste, shredded leaves, manure, straw, even your coffee grounds. When you build a compost pile, you're essentially creating a controlled environment for bacteria, fungi, and other decomposers to break all that material down into something your garden can use. The result is a dark, crumbly, earthy-smelling material packed with nutrients. Compost is dynamic. It's teeming with life. Microbes, earthworms, and beneficial fungi that continue working even after you spread it on your garden beds. This is why adding compost to your soil gives plants a noticeable growth boost within a season. But here's the catch. Compost is still breaking down. It hasn't reached stability yet. Over time, those nutrients get used up, and the compost itself continues to decompose until only humus remains. Now here's where things get interesting. Humus is the end product of decomposition. It's what's left after compost and organic matter have broken down completely. Humus is incredibly stable. It doesn't decompose further, and it doesn't release nutrients as quickly as compost does. Instead, humus acts as the soil's bank account. It holds on to nutrients, water, and air, making them available to plants when they need them most. If compost is like a hot meal that gives you energy right away, humus is the deep reserve of nutrition that keeps you healthy long-term. It's the reason old, untouched forest soil feels so rich, soft, and alive, even without anyone ever fertilizing it. Humus is also what gives soil its beautiful dark color and that unmistakable earthy smell we gardeners love so much. Alright, let's line them up side by side in plain gardening terms. Stage of decomposition. Compost is still in process, humus is fully decomposed. Nutrient availability. Compost feeds plants quickly, humus holds nutrients long-term. Stability. Compost changes and breaks down. Humus is stable and resists decay. Soil impact. Compost jumpstarts fertility. Humus builds lasting soil structure. Both are valuable. The key is knowing that compost provides short-term food, while humus creates long-term health. Here's where patience comes in. You can make compost in a matter of months, but humus takes years, even decades, to fully form. When you add compost to your soil, you're actually setting the stage for humus to be created. The microorganisms in the soil continue breaking it down little by little until what's left is stable humus. That's why soils that have been enriched with compost over many seasons become easier to work, more fertile, and better at holding moisture. So you can't make humus directly. It's something that naturally develops as your soil is fed organic matter over time. So here's the real takeaway. You need both compost and humus in your soil. Compost is kind of like an energy drink for your plants. It gives them that quick boost of nutrients and life to really thrive in the current season. Humus, on the other hand, is more like the steady heartbeat of your soil. It's what makes your garden resilient to things like drought, heavy rain, or even nutrient loss over the long run. When you add compost year after year, you're not just feeding your plants. You're also building up the humus content in your soil. And honestly, that's what makes your garden healthier and more self-sustaining with each passing season. Now that you know the difference, let's talk about what you can actually do in your garden. First, keep making compost. Don't ever stop. Your kitchen scraps, yard trimmings, and leaves are black gold waiting to happen. Add it to your beds every season to keep plants thriving. Second, think long-term. Every time you add compost, mulch, or organic matter, you're slowly building humus in your soil. That's why no-till gardening, mulching with leaves or straw, and cover cropping are so powerful. They all feed the soil in ways that eventually build humus. And here's a personal tip from my own garden. Never be discouraged if you don't see humus right away. It's forming quietly, invisibly, season after season. Trust the process and your soil will thank you. If there's one lesson I've learned over the years, it's this. Healthy soil is built, not bought. Compost and humus are the dynamic duo that make it possible. Compost gives your plants what they need right now, while humus sets up the soil for success for generations. When you understand this difference, you stop looking for quick fixes and start thinking like a soil builder. And that's when gardening transforms from a hobby into a partnership with nature. So, there you have it. Humus versus compost and why the difference is too important to ignore. Compost is the active, nutrient-rich material we create and add to our gardens regularly. Humus is the stable, final product of decomposition that builds soil's long-term health. Both are essential, and together they're the secret sauce behind every thriving garden. If you found this breakdown helpful, stick around with us here on SoilSage Chronicles. Hit that subscribe button, share this article with your fellow gardeners, and let's keep growing soil wisdom together. Remember, feed the soil, and the soil will feed you. Soil Sensei.